Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Tyler, and yes, today we are finally back with another Cobra Kai related video. I know my channel's been kind of a little dead lately because I haven't really been posting because I've been sick, and then my next video, or my next two videos actually, were MCU related. So I want to apologize. We're going to be back on that Cobra Kai grind now. That was just a cringy phrase. Now we're just going to move past that, and we're just going to get into this what if. You guys have been waiting for this. I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting to bring this to you guys, and I'm genuinely excited to talk about this theory because Chozen is probably my favorite Karate Kid villain, so it's really nice to just talk about a character that I like so much, who's probably my favorite character that's not Johnny or Miguel in the series, and basically explain what would have happened had he went to America / turn good / join Miyagi-Do. Now let's get into it. Okay, so for this scenario to work, it's actually really simple. You basically have Chozen, instead of basically taking up revenge by the final battle, he would actually be heavily conflicted because of Sato telling him that it's over. Instead of having it so Chozen just immediately goes into rage, he would first run away to think about things and think about how Sato was right, but then a second later, he would then get all that rage fuming up in his head and really just wants to take out all of his rage on Daniel. This rivalry that Miyagi and Sato had isn't stupid to Chozen, and he's going to basically let out all of his rage at the final battle, which he would still lose like in canon, but in this timeline, I think Miyagi can actually offer him a proposition. Now, I think Chozen at first is definitely going to deny this proposition, which is basically for Chozen to join Miyagi-Do and come to America with them to basically learn more karate, since Sato is letting go of this rivalry and Chozen really has nothing to learn from Sato anymore, at least, and Chozen can come in and actually, learn more karate, learn the secrets of Miyagi-Do. But Chozen is definitely not going to accept this at first, and after the whole festival thing and everyone's just cheering and having a good time, Chozen would probably leave. I think Daniel would be with Kumiko at this point, and when he sees Chozen leave, I think he would go after him. Now guys, I think this is an easy way to set this up because Daniel at this point in Karate Kid 2, at least at this point in the series and after the conclusion of his arc, he is fully embracing the Miyagi-Do philosophy and knows from right and wrong. Daniel is still reckless, yes, but it's not really necessarily as much of a derail as it was in Karate Kid 3, and at this point, Daniel's at an all-time high. Daniel sees the best in people, and I think here he can definitely see that Chozen wasn't really a bad guy, rather a confused one. Chozen basically let his rage take the forefront, and because of that, this led into the whole derail of the festival. Daniel understands where Chozen is coming from, because Sato let it down, that doesn't mean Chozen should let it down either, but he and Chozen both know if both of their senseis are going to drop this, why not Chozen do the same thing? Chozen would say how he disrespected his honor, and for that he tried to kill him, and Daniel would then say how he never meant to disrespect his honor at all. And also, I don't think Chozen would necessarily be nearly as mad at Daniel after he wins the fight, because his whole thing is about, again, honor and respect, and Daniel won, legitly. No tricks, no ratting, no nothing. So I think he would, out of respect, listen to Daniel and is understanding that Daniel knows that Chozen is not a bad guy, and honestly, his life could change by coming to America, and hell, he can even continue his teachings, and he and Chozen could train under Miyagi. Chozen would then say, like rivals, and Daniel would then say how he doesn't just have to be rivals with Chozen, they could be friends. And I think here Chozen would be a little conflicted, but I think Sato and Miyagi would even come in, and Sato would even say a few words to his former student and say to Chozen that it's okay to join Miyagi-Do. He can live a better life in America, and overall can just learn way more with Miyagi than he can with Sato, confirming that Miyagi is stronger than Sato. I know that's obviously been stated before, or that's been implied, but I think we just need more of that being heavily solidified. You see, talking to Miyagi is one thing and talking to Daniel's another, but talking to his former sensei who's even giving this idea, Chozen is just further thinking to himself what to do, and obviously, as you guys see in the title and thumbnail, he would inevitably agree to go to America in hopes of, becoming a better martial artist and carrying on his rivalry with Daniel. Now, we don't know how much time necessarily passes between Karate Kid 2 and Karate Kid 3, so I'm just going to be saying here during that unquantifiable amount of time, they would not only go back to America, but Chozen would also get a place to stay. Now, the thing is, we also don't know that Chozen has any living relatives or necessarily any of that matter, like a father, a mom, any of that. So we're going to be saying, for the sake of simplicity, either he doesn't and he basically finds a place to stay on his own 2 feet, or stays at Miyagi-Do, or we'd probably just have his family move to America with Chozen, and he would be, again, continuing to further his relationship and bonds with Miyagi and Daniel. Obviously, Chozen isn't the type to be like, oh, you know, that's my friend or whatever, you know, he's willing to put that out there, but him and Daniel are definitely getting along over the course of time, and I definitely can see Chozen slowly shifting into, you know, becoming Daniel's friend. And the first time we actually noticed this new Chozen is at the beginning of Karate Kid 2, who would be with Daniel along with that one girl. Don't ask me about her name, I don't remember her name. But when Mike Barnes tries to come in and insinuate that Daniel definitely needs to participate in the next All Valley so he can beat him up, and is literally trying to get physical with him, instead of Daniel moving to the scene and fighting back, it's Chozen. Chozen would then say, how, are you deaf? You know, he said no, leave him alone. At that point, Mike Barnes tries to throw a punch, which Chozen easily evades. At that point, Mike Barnes would then throw another attack, which Chozen would then proceed to block, similarly to how Daniel was using the drum technique, and Chozen would then follow up with the kick, knocking Mike Barnes on his ass. Mike Barnes' friends even try to jump in, but because now it's a 2-on-1 and not Daniel just getting jumped saying no, how he doesn't want to join the All Valley, and he's with someone like Chozen who isn't going to tolerate that, these two are now going to get into a little scuffle, with Daniel pretty much beating up the goon that's on Mike Barnes' side, and when Mike Barnes tries to get back up, he would be specifically trying to attack Chozen, who knocked him on his ass, and Chozen is just embarrassing him even further. At this point in the series, Chozen has learned the Miyagi-Do philosophy and is starting to slowly embrace it, and now Daniel is actually being backed up rather than him just saying, no, 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 I don't want to do that, and him getting jumped. We actually have a fair fight. And I think because this new Chozen here is just not caring, and Daniel is definitely going to be less suppressed than he was at the beginning of this film, I think this is a W for our heroes' favor. After this point though, I can definitely see Chozen actually deciding to supervise and basically watch Daniel and basically make sure that doesn't really happen again. And when Mike Barnes is there for the bonsai tree incident and they basically just ruin it for Daniel and Chozen, this enrages not only Daniel but also Chozen. Now, I think they would both be enraged, but we definitely see a duality here. Chozen still being on the side of good, who once was on the bad, and now Daniel slowly spiraling down this dark path and slowly joining Cobra Kai. Now, Daniel would still be arguing with Miyagi, but instead of Miyagi, it's not only just Miyagi, it's also Chozen, and Chozen here is going to be staying by Miyagi's side while Daniel spirals down this dark path, meets Terry Silver, and all that stuff. And just for him to know that this was all just some sick game to him in order to basically just get a laugh and trick Daniel and fool him. Just like in canon, as Mike Barnes tries to run out the doors, it would be revealed that he was actually kicked, and that was actually Chozen. And so with that being said, it is now a 3v2, Chozen versus Mike Barnes and Miyagi versus Terry and Kreese. Miyagi folds to both of them, and Mike Barnes just gets embarrassed by the Miyagi-Do Chozen, and they basically would then decide to go and finish this at the All Valley, which instead of Mike Barnes, you know, his first 2 matches being skipped and then it would be the final rounds, I think off the bat it would be Chozen versus Mike Barnes. This is a perfect first match to basically get the All Valley and everyone that's watching basically immersed into the show. And with this, I think Chozen and Mike Barnes, when fighting, they do complement each other, both recognizing that they've actually gotten stronger before they were training for the All Valley, but Chozen would then reveal again the drum technique that actually beat up Mike Barnes earlier in the movie, and just like how he beat Barnes then, he would beat Barnes just like this and would make him fall on his ass. Chozen would then strike his chest, gaining the point. Now, personally, the reason why I would have this included is because it actually shows how much Chozen has grown. Even when Daniel was going down this dark path and yet he was just spiraling down, we see Chozen, who once saw this dark path similar to what Daniel was going down but changed his ways and basically goes on to beat the same guy that was beating up Daniel, his old rival. And now friend is honestly just some good writing in my opinion. I think this is the best way to kind of solidify Chozen being in Miyagi-Do and for Chozen to kind of go through this arc. Chozen once was a bad guy, but now he helped beat the rival that kind of made Daniel spiral down into a similar position to that of Chozen. Now here I think we would have Chozen versus Daniel in the finale with really the exact opposite narrative building up to that fight in comparison to the previous movie where they were both kind of enemies, but now they're both kind of friends. Now, personally, I would have Chozen win this fight. Why? Well, he's been having the most growth in this film, and really, in my opinion, I think Chozen winning kind of makes sense. Daniel really only beat Mike Barnes in the first place because he used a technique that confused Mike Barnes and he was really unaware of the whole thing. Chozen here would not be unaware. If anything, he would be aware because he's training at the same dojo that teaches Daniel all these techniques, this one included. So he wouldn't be trying to use forms of kata to confuse Chozen. Chozen would be aware of that. Not to mention, now that Chozen's in Miyagi-Do, he has plenty of time to perfect his offense and defense, and I think in the end he would overwhelm Daniel, showing that Daniel is not the strongest anymore, and how spiraling down that dark path was honestly the dumbest thing he's ever done. Now, decades later, we would be revealed that Daniel is actually a car salesman, has a perfect family, and honestly is living the perfect life, whereas Chozen, he has been picking up on the Miyagi-Do slack. Chozen is at the point in his life where he's similar to that of his adult self that we see in Cobra Kai Season 3, just mastering all the techniques he could possibly learn in America, obviously, and he's been keeping up with his training. So at this point, Chozen is definitely the strongest, most built different at this point in the series. Miyagi's death definitely had a major effect on him, and after Miyagi's death, he basically just didn't stop training and was going off, just trying to learn the most he can about Miyagi-Do. Now here, I think he would definitely still be in America, right? However, I'm going to be having differences happen here because instead of having, stuff from the Miyagi past, we would be having Chozen. What I'm trying to say is, by the time episode 5 rolls around and Daniel visits Miyagi's grave and is realizing that he's been going about shutting down Cobra Kai the wrong way, he wouldn't just put on his gi and basically reveals to the audience that he is getting back into karate. What actually happens instead is Daniel would actually go and visit Chozen. He would be talking to Chozen about this, similarly to how he talked to Miyagi at the gravesite earlier in the day, and Chozen would tell Daniel the same answer that he thought of after talking to Miyagi, that being, let karate back into your life. Chozen would say how if it wasn't for karate and him continuing his training, he would be moping around and being sad about Miyagi's death. But karate isn't the only thing that made Chozen feel good when he was down about Miyagi. It was the one drive, the one thing that kept Chozen going. And it was only after Miyagi's death and him getting back into karate and taking his training full on seriously did he realize that karate is a definite positive in his life, and without it, he honestly doesn't even know what he would have done or could have done without karate. And giving Daniel this answer would awaken something within him, and Daniel would then be revealed by the end of the episode to put on his gi and get back into karate, but he's not the only one in the room. It's Chozen as well, and Chozen would then say, ready to pick up on your training? Daniel nods, and the two of them get ready to spar. And we cut to black. Episode 5 then concludes, and we get Daniel's arc still being formed, with an added twist of Chozen in the mix. Now, with this, Chozen is basically going to be helping not only Daniel, but also Robbie train in the arts of Miyagi-Do, and the rest of the story can essentially play out the same. That is until Kreese returns by the end of Season 2, of course. And I think in terms of interactions with Chozen and Johnny, Chozen is basically just, oh, screw this guy, he's an asshole, because of the stories that Daniel told him. And when Johnny and Daniel are arguing and it's revealed that Robbie is actually Daniel's son, I think Chozen and Amanda would be the voice of reasonings towards Daniel to basically allow Daniel to forgive Robbie and allow him to fight for Miyagi-Do. Now, when Kreese comes in, I can definitely see, rather, instead of Daniel being the only person to go up to Johnny to ask if Robbie can stay at his place and then meeting Kreese, Chozen would also come along just to make sure Daniel and Johnny don't really get into it. And when seeing Kreese, Daniel will then say how they're in for a rude awakening. When Kreese says regards to Mr. Miyagi, I definitely could see Chozen saying how is him and Terry after that ass beating, after Daniel would say, you know, how is his knuckles. Chozen before leaving would then say, don't let paint drop on your head just like Terry, as he would then walk away with Daniel, enraging Kreese. Now here, I don't really see Chozen adding anything really new to the table in Season 2. You know, we could have him still training Miyagi-Do maybe while Daniel is off, you know, concentrating with, you know, his relationship with his wife, you know, the car dealership, stuff like that, which can help Daniel try and do some balancing in his life, and he eventually does come back to the dojo, and now there's 2 teachers again. Another thing I could see Chozen adding to the table in Season 2 is maybe instead of Daniel admitting that he once was in Cobra Kai, it would be Chozen, and he would further solidify how you can be in Cobra Kai, but you can be changed. It just needs to be the right teacher. Now, I know this is off topic, but I do want to say Chozen was in their life at one point, obviously, and, you know, after Miyagi's death, he basically was focusing all on his training, but beforehand, he definitely was looked at as the cool uncle in Anthony and Sam's eyes. Now, after the fall of Robbie, I can definitely see rather than Daniel going alone to Okinawa, he would go with Chozen, and they would encounter Kumiko, and in the end, instead of him just training with Chozen, they would be mainly, you know, about the car business, which they would actually find out that the girl in the rain that Daniel saved is actually the main way to basically end all of his business problems. And with that being said, Daniel is basically going to be resolving this. However, he will not know the pressure point technique, at least not yet. The real secrets of Miyagi-Do karate was in Okinawa, so I don't see them learning these techniques since Chozen isn't there to basically, you know, gain all that knowledge in Okinawa in the first place. He would be knowing just as much as Daniel would know. So when they arrive back to America, the story still goes on the same. I mean, nothing really changes except for probably Chozen obviously being there to help out Daniel in terms of karate, and when Kreese is, you know, talking about bringing back the All Valley and Amanda stands up, I think Chozen would hold her back. Now, in all honesty, I think the rest of the events are going to be playing out the same up until the finale, which is going to be completely different since not only Daniel would be saving Johnny, but also Chozen. Also, Chozen would be at the party and basically getting to interact with Allie, Daniel's ex, which is some nice scenes and all that stuff, and I think we would also get Chozen and Johnny understanding each other and them actually being cool before, you know, they go down to Cobra Kai and find out that Kreese was about to kill this guy. And after what Chozen hears about how they broke into Daniel's house, Daniel at first would be fighting Kreese initially, insisting that he should fight him alone, but when Kreese tackles him through the window and basically tries to reunite him and Miyagi, at that point, Kreese would then throw the blade at Daniel, which Chozen would be able to basically disarm Kreese and block the attack as Daniel goes in for the offensive. When Kreese tries to attack Daniel, Chozen would be blocking the blows and Daniel would be attacking. Yeah, you're seeing it for yourself, folks. A 2-man drum technique which smacks Kreese down, and Kreese would then say how they can settle it tournament style and in the All Valley. Because we actually did this what if, we got to see a more in-depth look into the character of Chozen, obviously, but we actually get to see him transform into the man that we see him in Season 3. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to be ending this what if off, and if you did enjoy this video, be sure to give a thumbs up and comment down below what other what ifs you would like me to do in the future, and share it with your friends. Subscribe if you are new, hit the bell icon, that way you are notified and updated every time I upload, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I haven't really been feeling the best as of lately, guys, but in all honesty, recording this video and me just focusing on things that make me happy and making videos for you guys, honestly, that's the perfect right step in the direction for me. So thanks guys for all the support you've been giving me. It really does mean a lot, and let's keep on moving forward. Peace out, everyone.